Another 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration can be described as quite eventful but also controversial in the history of the Nigerian judiciary. I spoke with the senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Olukayode Enitan, earlier today concerning the sector. I started by asking him if there's been an improvement in the welfare of judicial officers under the current administration.
They are not better off than where they were 8 years ago. As far as welfare of the justices is concerned, there hasn't been much of an improvement. But, I'm aware that a lot of the, particularly federal judicial staff, not judicial staff, but justices, a lot of them are having to live more or less out of hotel rooms. They do not have accommodation. They do not have the full complement of their offices up to the Supreme Court.
All right, so how would you describe the relationship between the executive arm of government and the judiciary in the last 8 years when you consider that at a point the president openly accused judges of corruption?
Well, anyone can make accusations, but you don't stop there. If you're saying, and I've always said this, if you're going to say that judges are corrupt, don't just brush everybody with the same star. You have to be specific. You have to identify. And once you identify, you have to follow through. So it should just be, oh, the executive has accused the judiciary of being corrupt. No, go further. Prove your allegations. Anything else is just calling a dog a bad name so that you can have a reason to shoot it, not to hang.
So, President Buhari vigorously campaigned on the promise of fighting corruption. Tell me, how would you rate the fight in the last 8 years? Anything worthy of note in that regard?
Worthy of note? It's one thing to mouth, we'll fight corruption, we'll fight corruption. But I do not see corruption being fought in the fact that EFCC was able to obtain verdicts of guilty and convictions of young men and women doing petty computer fraud here and there. The fight against corruption, properly so called, looking at big tickets, big items. Of course, EFCC also had its own challenges, particularly as with respect to governors and state government. But that is not the only area where we can say there are corrupting influences or what we tag corruption. And can we even look at it? Exactly what is corruption? Is corruption the refusal to follow the dictates of the Constitution with regards to appointment? Would it be corruption if you see a lopsided release of resources? Would it be corruption where government impact is felt in one section more than the other?